So today onwards we will start with reflexes. So here these reflexes is nothing but whenever a stimulus is given from periphery, the response to that particular stimulus is known as a reflex. Now there is a anatomical pathway for that reflex. So this anatomical pathway for that reflex is known as reflex arc. So this reflex arc has got many constituents here. So this reflex arc has got, first one is the receptor. The receptor is the one which receives the stimulus. So whenever a stimulus is given, that stimulus is received by that receptor. Then the next compartment of reflex arc is afferent nerve. So afferent nerve is nothing but the nerve which transmits the sensor impulses which is received from the receptor to the center is known as afferent nerve. Then the third one is the center. The center is something which receives the sensory impulses from the afferent nerve and then it generates an appropriate motor response to it. Then the fourth one is the efferent nerve or a motor nerve. The efferent nerve or motor nerve, here it transmits the motor impulses which are generated by the center to the effector organ. Then the effector organ, it may be like a muscle or it may be a gland or it may be organ. So this effector organ, it reacts to the motor impulses which are brought by the efferent nerve from the center here. This is known as the effector organ. So whatever the effect of the reflex is seen, it is seen on this effector organ. Okay. So this is what is known as the reflex arc. Reflex arc is nothing but the anatomical pathway for a reflex. The next thing is about the classification of reflexes. So now we'll study about the classification of reflexes here. Reflexes are classified depending upon in various ways. The first one is depending upon whether they are inborn or acquired. Depending upon whether they are inborn or acquired, they are classified into two types. They are called as conditioned reflex and unconditioned reflex, or inborn reflex and acquired reflex. The first one is unconditioned reflex. Unconditioned reflex is inborn reflex. It does not, here it is present since birth, it does not require any training as such. The best example is, if you, in case of infants, they suck the milk, the sucking of milk from the, in case of newborn baby. So it is one of the example for inborn reflex. Or there will be secretion of saliva when you keep a drop of honey on the tongue of a newborn, there will be secretion of saliva. This is also an example of unconditioned reflex. And then second one is conditioned reflexes or acquired reflexes. These are the reflexes which require previous training. They are called as conditioned or acquired reflexes. Then the second classification is based on the situation of center, where the center for these reflexes is situated. Depending upon this, there are 5 different types of reflexes are there. Cerebellar reflexes, where the center is situated there in the cerebellum. Cortical reflexes, where the center is situated in the cerebral cortex. Midbrain reflexes, where the center is situated there in the midbrain. Bulbar or medullary reflexes, where the center is situated there in the the center is situated in the medulla oblongata. And spinal reflexes, where the center is situated there in the spinal cord. Then the third classification is depending upon the purpose, or it is also called as functional or physiological classification. So here there are 2 types of reflexes are there. One is protective or flexor reflex, and second one is anti-gravity or extensor reflex. Protective or flexor reflexes, they are also called as withdrawal reflexes. These are the reflexes which protect the body from any harmful stimuli. And during these processes, there will be flexion of various muscles will occur. That is why they are called as flexor reflexes. And anti-gravity reflexes or extensor reflexes, they protect the body against the gravitational force. And during this process, there will be extension of muscles will occur. So that is why they are also called as extensor reflexes. Then the fourth type of classification is depending upon the number of synapses. Depending upon the number of synapses, there are two types of reflexes, monosynaptic and polysynaptic reflexes. Monosynaptic, it means the reflex arc has got only one synapse. Polysynaptic, it means the reflex arc has got more than one synapse. They are called as polysynaptic reflexes. Then the fifth type of classification is depending upon whether they are somatic or visceral reflexes. The somatic reflexes are the one where the reflex arc is formed by a somatic nerve, and here they are mainly involved in the functions of skeletal muscles. They are seen in skeletal muscles. And the second type is visceral. Here the reflex arc is mainly formed by autonomic nerves, and such type of reflexes are seen in organs, glands, and smooth muscles. Then the fourth classification is the clinical classification. According to this, there are four types of reflexes are there. One is superficial reflex, deep reflex, visceral reflex, and pathological reflex. Superficial reflexes are the one which are elicited from the surface of the body. They are very superficial, like they are on the skin, mucous membrane, etc. Deep reflexes are situated beneath the skin, like tendon reflexes. They are deep reflexes. Then visceral reflexes, they are situated in the deep lying structures or organs. Then pathological reflexes, they are the reflexes which are seen only in diseased conditions. They are abnormal reflexes. So this is about the classification of reflexes.